Hi, today I'm going to explain how to replace a water pump on a Mazda 2001 Mazda Tribute. This also applies to Ford Escape. I'm sure it applies to 2002, 2003, and probably 2004. These are some of the parts you're going to be using. The water pump or equivalent, two small hoses. You can see the original 4-part numbers. This one, a longer one. Maybe these are not required to be replaced, but I always do it. You know, you're gonna have to go through the trouble of replacing the pump. Do this at the same time. It's gonna be easier if you do it at the same time. And lastly, the belt. It's a small belt that runs the water pump from the camshaft. The tensioner, you may change it also. The tensioner that is used for tensioning this belt. But in my case, I won't be changing it. It's very easy to change it later if you need so. Next, remove the pressure cap on the coolant container. Down here, there's a peacock. You can reach it. It's a round peacock like this. You just unscrew it and leave it to drain. I put a container to catch the coolant. While the coolant is draining, remove this cover. You have to undo 3 nuts, one here, another one here, using a 8mm socket. After undoing the nuts, I suggest using any kind of a magnet to retrieve the nut. It's going to be easier this way. Now you should be able to see the belt, the camshaft drive pulley, the tensioner. Down there is the water pump. Next, we're going to remove the battery. We're going to use an 8mm wrench and a 10mm here, and then remove the battery. Remember to remove the negative pole first, always. Remove it first and put it last. Now remove the 4 bolts that hold the battery tray using a 8mm socket. There's a anchoring device for the positive cable. You have to remove on the battery tray to pull it upward and remove it. Then take the transmission breather tube, okay, pull it, put it aside, and then we're going to remove the 2 main hoses, this one and this one, that goes to the radiator. With those 2 hoses out of the way, you can see the water pump down here. Here is the thermostat housing. One of the hoses we remove, and the other one we remove this one. Next, we're gonna move the tensioner. Okay, you can do it by hand, and then remove the belt, and then we're gonna remove this clamp here. And there's a hose that goes from the thermostat housing to the water pump. That's next. What I do is I move the clamp towards the center of the hose. Then you can wiggle it, and then you can move it around. Okay, next we're gonna remove this bolt here. That is the tensioner anchor to the pump. Be aware when you remove the tensioner, there are 2 holes. One where the screw goes, and another one where the anchoring stud goes. this one here. So when you put it back the right way. It has to be inside here. Next, we remove this other clamp here that goes to the pump on the long hose. Don't pretend to remove this hose yet. Just move the clamp towards the center, and when you remove the water pump, it's gonna detach like this one here. Okay, now we can unbolt the water pump. There are only 3 bolts that holds the water pump. These 2 under the tensioning location. These 2, you skip 1, and then the next one, the 3rd one. This is the one that is going to be unbolted. Now that the pump is unbolted, you remove this clamp, move it here. This hose goes under the pump. It's going to be easier to remove it with the pump out. So remove it from here, and I'll show you how to remove it from the pump. The last clamp you have to remove is this one here, and that's the tricky part of the whole procedure, removing that one. You can do it from up here or from under. I leave that to you, but that's the toughest part of the whole procedure. What I have for those cases is a hose clamp plier, and I'm going to show you how this works. The way it works is that you put the tool in this position. When you clamp it, that's going to close, it's going to pinch, and it's going to release the clamp. Okay? After fighting with it, it finally came out. What I did is the following. I use a low nose vice grip to clamp the hose clamp, and then remove it. That's the way I was able to remove it. A couple of notes. If you buy the original Ford pump, it comes like so. The front part and the back part as one unit. If you buy it, okay, from a like a third-party aftermarket source, they only sell the front part, and what happens after some years, the back part gets pitted, and Ford doesn't sell the back part separate from the front part. He only sells the whole thing. So you have to take that into consideration when you buy it, like in any auto parts stores. The other thing is that I didn't mention this hose here. I already changed it like a month ago, so I suggest by changing the pump, you also change this one, because here is very easy to, as you see, to replace it. When it's attached to the engine, it's very difficult. You have to go under the one to remove this clamp, and the space there is very confined. So I suggest changing this hose. Also, when you move this hose to the new pump, okay, this connector here, make sure that you're aware of the position, like so. It stays the same, otherwise it's going to be crooked. Okay, be aware that the new hoses has a mark, an indication where the clamp should be aligned, and also says that pump side, pump end, the end that goes towards the pump, and also on the pump there's a tab where you should align that mark. On the other one, it is the same. It has the mark, and it says pump N. Anyway, this is the side you have to put first into the engine block. This is the tough part to put. Then you connect it to the pump. Now the new long hose is in place. We're gonna reassemble the water pump. I suggest using the 3 bolts that holds the water pump. Use anti-seize lubricant. Clean it with a wire brush and put some anti-seize lubricant. After everything is in place, it should look like this. Okay, new belt, new pump, new hoses. Remember, you have like 8 or 9 clamps. Make sure all of them are tied up in place. You don't miss any of them. And this connection here is a plastic connection. I already changed it like a month ago with all the rest of the hoses. This tends to get brittle when aged. So maybe when you pull this out, it broke. So I suggest also changing this hose here that goes to the heater. What's left is putting the battery bracket, filling up the coolant. Remember, put the heater selection in the hot position so that you're make sure that any bubbles inside the heater core are eliminated. Another note, under here is the location of the automatic transmission selector switch. When you remove this hose, it may get wet, so make sure that it's dry and no residual coolant is on over the that switch. It may give you some issues if it get wet. So do that. Before filling up the system with coolant, remember to close the drain valve at the bottom of the radiator. I also suggest moving this temporarily to the upright position so when you're filling up with coolant, it doesn't drain directly to the engine compartment. It takes like 2 gallons of the green coolant. Don't use the red one, use the green one. And if you use the concentrated coolant, mix it with the still water. Don't use tap water. The still water is the one to be used. So after putting in like 2 gallons, you can close it, start the engine, and then remember to check for the next couple of days. Check the level, because it's going to go down. Initially you can go higher than the maximum level, because it's going to go down after a couple of days. Turn on the engine. Don't put the plastic cover yet, just to have a better view of the pump and fully working. And check, wait until the engine goes to operating temperature. Check for any leak, and then you're done. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please leave your questions and comments and press like. Thank you.